The law was clear. No one approached the king without being summoned. Not even the queen. One step too far, and you could be dead. Yet there I stood, heart pounding, hands trembling, about to risk my life. The lives of my people depended on it. Would the king extend his golden scepter? Or would my story end here?
This is the story of how an ordinary Jewish woman became the unlikely queen of Persia, and how God used her to save a nation. The year was around 483 BC. The empire of Persia stretched from India in the east to Ethiopia in the west, 127 provinces in all. King Ahasuerus, also known as Xerxes, ruled with unmatched wealth and power. His palace in Susa was filled with marble pillars, gold couches, silver ornaments, and colorful tapestries. One day, the king decided to display his wealth in a grand feast lasting 180 days, half a year of celebrations. When it ended, he hosted another 7-day feast for everyone in the citadel, from the greatest to the least. Wine flowed freely, and no one was compelled to drink more than they wanted, but there was no shortage for those who did. Meanwhile, Queen Vashti held her own banquet for the women in the royal palace. On the 7th day of the feast, with the king's heart merry with wine, he summoned Queen Vashti. He wanted her to appear before the nobles wearing her royal crown, to display her beauty to the people. But Queen Vashti refused. A hush must have fallen over the banquet hall. No one refused the king. The king's anger burned. His advisors warned, if the queen's conduct becomes known to all women, they will despise their husbands. They advised him to make a royal decree that Vashti should never again come before the king, and that her royal position be given to another who was better than she. And so it was done. After some time, the king's anger cooled, and thoughts of Vashti faded. But he needed a queen. The king's attendants proposed a search for the most beautiful young women in the empire. They would be brought to the palace, given beauty treatments for a year, and then each would spend one night with the king. The one who pleased him most would be crowned queen. In the citadel of Susa lived a Jew named Mordecai, of the tribe of Benjamin. He had been carried into exile from Jerusalem by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Mordecai had raised his cousin Hadassah, also called Esther, because she had no father or mother. Esther was lovely in form and features. When the king's order was proclaimed, she was taken to the harem under the care of Haggai, the custodian of the women. Mordecai instructed Esther not to reveal her people or her nationality, and she obeyed him, just as she had when she was under his care. From the moment Haggai saw Esther, she won his favor. He gave her special food, assigned her 7 maids, and moved her to the best place in the harem. After 12 months of beauty treatments, 6 with oil of myrrh and 6 with perfumes and cosmetics, it was Esther's turn to go before the king. Unlike the other women, she asked for nothing except what Haggai suggested. And the king loved Esther more than all the other women. He set the royal crown on her head and made her queen in place of Vashti. A great banquet was held in her honor, and gifts were given to the provinces. At the king's gate, Mordecai overheard 2 officers plotting to assassinate King Xerxes. He told Esther, who reported it to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. The plot was investigated, found to be true, and the men were executed. This was recorded in the royal chronicles, though no reward was given to Mordecai at that time. After this, the king promoted Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, above all the other nobles. All the royal officials at the king's gate knelt and paid honor to him, except Mordecai. When asked why, Mordecai simply replied, "I am a Jew." Haman's pride turned to rage. Learning that Mordecai was a Jew, he decided not just to punish Mordecai, but to destroy all the Jews in the entire Persian Empire. In the first month of the year, Haman cast the Pur lot, to choose the date for the slaughter. The lot fell on the 13th day of the 12th month. Haman convinced the king by saying, "There is a certain people dispersed and scattered among the peoples. Their customs are different. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them." He offered to pay 10,000 talents of silver into the royal treasury to have them destroyed. The king agreed, giving Haman his signet ring. A decree was sent to all provinces. On the 13th day of the 12th month, all Jews, young and old, women and children, were to be killed, and their goods plundered. The city of Susa was thrown into confusion. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and wailed loudly in the city. Across the empire, Jews fasted, wept, and mourned. Through a messenger named Hathach, Mordecai urged Esther, "Go into the king's presence to beg for mercy and plead with him for your people." Esther replied, Any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned will be put to death unless the king extends the golden scepter. It has been 30 days since I was called to go to the king." Mordecai sent back this answer: "Do not think that because you are in the king's house you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther responded, "Go gather all the Jews in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." On the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the palace. When the king saw her, he was pleased and held out the golden scepter. Esther approached and touched its tip. "What is it, Queen Esther?" the king asked. "Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given you." Esther replied, "If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet I have prepared." At the banquet, the king again asked her request. Esther invited them to another banquet the next day, then she would answer. That night, Haman boasted to his friends about his wealth and honors, yet complained that none of it mattered as long as Mordecai was alive. His wife and friends suggested building a gallows 75 feet high and asking the king to have Mordecai hanged on it. Haman agreed. That same night, the king could not sleep. He ordered the chronicles to be read. They told of Mordecai's role in saving the king's life. "What honor and recognition has Mordecai received for this?" asked the king. "Nothing has been done for him," they replied. Just then, Haman entered, to request Mordecai's execution. Before he could speak, the king asked, "What should be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Thinking the king meant him, Haman described a lavish reward, royal robes, a horse, and a public parade. "Go at once," the king commanded. "Do for Mordecai the Jew exactly as you have suggested." Haman had to lead Mordecai through the streets, proclaiming, "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." At the second banquet, the king asked again, "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" Esther said, "If I have found favor with you, grant me my life, this is my petition. And spare my people, this is my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated." "Who is he?" demanded the king. "Where is the man who has dared to do such a thing?" Esther pointed, "The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman." The king, furious, left the room. When he returned, Haman had fallen on Esther's couch to beg for his life. The king interpreted it as an assault. One of the attendants said, "A gallows stands at Haman's house, 75 feet high. He had it made for Mordecai. Hang him on it," the king commanded. Haman was executed that day. His estate was given to Esther, and the king's signet ring, once Haman's, was given to Mordecai. But the decree against the Jews could not be revoked. Instead, the king issued a new one, allowing the Jews to defend themselves on the appointed day. When the 13th day of the 12th month came, the Jews struck down their enemies. In Susa, they killed 500 men, and in the provinces, 75,000 more, but they took no plunder. The day after, they rested and celebrated. This became the Feast of Purim, named after the lot Haman had cast, a celebration still kept by Jews today. Esther's story reminds us, God can use anyone anywhere to accomplish his purposes. He placed Esther in the palace for such a time as this. Your courage may be tested in smaller ways, but the call is the same. Trust God, even when the risk is great. Esther's courage saved a nation. Your courage could change a life. If this story inspired you, imagine hearing every great story from Scripture brought to life like this. Subscribe now, and join us as we journey through the Bible, one powerful story at a time.